A couple days ago, the Hype House Netflix show came out without any hype, ironically, and I want to talk about it. So a couple weeks ago, we looked at Tiger King 2 and if it deserved the hype. Thank you for all the likes on that one, all the comments. Amazing, very delicious. So let's look at the Hype House and see if it deserves the hype that it's not really getting. I feel like nobody's really excited about this. I feel like I cracked the code. Like, I feel like I know why it's not that. It's pretty obvious, actually. But yeah, let's get into it. So I didn't even want to watch this either. I don't really care for this. I don't care for the people that are in it. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things, that the Hype House that was in this Netflix show is not the Hype House that was the original Hype House. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things in this, that the people that were actually having all the hype at that time are not in the Hype House anymore. Then I read the comments under Thomas Petrou's news video. All the comments were like, oh my god, you guys were so vulnerable. I didn't know like you all had actual problems that real humans have and all of that. And I love these videos, these real talk videos where YouTubers or creators talk about their struggles and maybe the solutions as well, where I can pick little life advice for myself. So long story short, I didn't think they would show the actual side of the creators and the personality, but all the comments said they would. So I thought, yeah, let's just watch it. So in episode 1, everybody gets introduced. I knew of Nikita Dragun, I knew Larray, Thomas Petrou, like the founder that was also in Team 10 before, and I feel like that's it. Later on, Larray's friends also join. Mario Salman, like shout out to him. I feel like he has been in 5 different creator cliques at this point. I know he was in Tana Mojo's friend group, and now he's like in Larray's friend group and like the whole TikTok house, and he like is a member in the end. I feel like he was in so many cliques but never really had his own moment to shine, and I kind of feel for him because I feel like that would be my position if I would be in these cliques. Anyway, another person in this is Alex Warren, who sounds like David Dobrik and does the same content as David Dobrik, and he just is like the new David Dobrik to me. They also get into his trauma within the show, and I will not really get into that. If you want to like hear all about that, Kalamarki made a great video about that. I will link that down in the description. I didn't really care that much for his storyline because I didn't really have, like I didn't watch him before. So the other members are Alex Warren's girlfriend, Cover, and Thomas Petrou's girlfriend, Maddie, I want to say. I don't really know. And Vinnie the hacker, and I don't know the rest. There are 2 more people that are doing pranks with Alex Warren, but they are not really in this. Like the whole show is focused on 3 main plot lines, I would say, which is between Lilhuddy and Thomas Petrou, Nikita Dragun and Larray, and the third one is Alex and Cover, and that is one I'm not really like that interested in. So Cover wants to get married, but Alex doesn't want to get married, and then they have a fake wedding and talk about their future and all that stuff. I didn't really care for that much. So from the beginning, you see that there's like no Charlie D'Amelio, there's no Avani, Addison Ray, Dixie D'Amelio. None of those people live in the Hype House anymore. Instantly, you're like, okay, this is the Hype House, but without the hype. So it's like kind of weird to keep the same name if almost all of the members are gone. But anyway, we are rolling with that. Let's make clear, like almost from the get-go, that nobody that lives in the Hype House really wants to work for it. It's the main issue from the first episode until the last episode. Gang Energy, who's paying for the huge mansion that they all live in, and all they have to do is do 1 post on the Hype House TikTok account. Nobody wants to do it. And that is also the reason Lilhuddy isn't even living in the Hype House anymore, because he moved out because he didn't want to do the Bang Energy post. So that is the main storyline between Thomas and Lilhuddy. Thomas was like, well, if you're not doing what is contributing to the rent, then we have an issue. And then Lilhuddy was, well, I'm gonna pay my own rent, and then moved out. So he's not in the Hype House as often because it's like such a far drive. Honestly, they also say in the show that Lilhuddy and Thomas have not talked for 3 months before the Netflix show started. That is like the most telling about all of this. I feel like the Hype House was definitely gone before all of this even started. And then they got the chance to actually have a Netflix show, and then we're like, well, fuck, now we gotta do something. And I feel like that is also when Nikita and Larray got more involved, because before like when it was still the old Hype House, they got the most criticism for having no diversity and every creator being white. So not only were they pulling in two creators that were also successful and had their own audience, they were also POC and LGBTQ. So that is some diversity checks, like right there. I feel like that was a decision that was made in there, because without Nikita and Larray, they are all white and have the same criticism they had with the first Hype House. I feel like it was very convenient on both sides, also for Nikita and Larray. I'm not sure how convenient it was for Larray, because he was not displayed in the best way in the show, but yeah, we will get to that. So episode 2 is the episode where they talk about cancel culture. The main thing here is Nikita threw this birthday party for Larray without any COVID restrictions, and I swear to God, that is the shit that Nikita keeps doing, why I can't be a stan of her, even though I really liked her in the show and she was very charismatic. This is the stuff why I can't, like, why I feel not comfortable supporting her, let's say it like that. That is the last time Larray got cancelled, and then they talk about that, and literally seconds later they show Nikita being on the phone with Larray's management, because they said Larray tested positive for COVID and then still went to a party because Nikita was too drunk and she had to call Larray to pick her up. That was not true, as it turns out later. So Larray's management, apparently not Larray, allegedly wanted to use Nikita as the scapegoat, and Larray says later on, I had no idea this was happening and I would never do this to you. And Nikita then says, well, I would never let my management talk to you like that and drag you into that. And it really seems like Nikita is the more authentic and genuine person in this. And I was really shocked to see Larray like that. I feel like Larray also sees that. I just looked at all the Instagrams and Nikita's like, oh my God, I'm so happy for all the new followers I'm getting. So apparently some people are watching it, and Larray literally just posted a picture of his dog and he's like staying silent. So I feel like he knows that this is like not displaying him in the best way. And I was watching a video from him a couple weeks ago where he was saying that he's going through a lot of mental struggle. And I feel like part of this is maybe also because of this show, because that was really a scummy move. I don't know by whom, if it was Larray or his management. Kind of sad. They talk about Nikita blackfishing later on. She does say, I hear you and I see the criticism and I know what it's about. And I thought like, well, I don't think you're gonna change anything. And then I looked at her Instagram and literally around Christmas, I think she posted this picture, maybe I'm gonna show it. And all the comments are like, Nikita, I can't believe you're still doing this. And she's obviously still doing the same thing, like corn rolls, cultural appropriation, blackfishing, the whole thing. Honestly, I would be 100% a Nikita stan, because her energy is like inspiring. The way she's like going about things, and she's like, I'm doing this, pussy stunting. It is inspiring, to be honest. Like, she keeps fucking it up with doing stuff like this. Like, what is the need, Nikita? Like, you don't have to do cultural appropriation, but I feel like it's a bigger topic, and I'm not the best person to speak on that topic. It's just why I personally can't support Nikita the way I want to. Larray says like, basically I can't be friends with you anymore if you keep doing this, and she's like, well, I'm not gonna do this anymore. And you know, it's like people putting filters on it, and she's like trying to get out of it, but then she like does own up to it in the end. But like I said, she doesn't change anything. So that is basically the whole Larray Nikita storyline that's going through all of this. For the next couple episodes, Larray keeps going with saying he doesn't know why Nikita would be angry, why anybody would be angry, because he had COVID and went to a party. Yeah, Larray doesn't get that. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about Thomas again. He's talking about the fact that Charlie and Dixie and Avani don't really talk to him anymore and all kind of like dropped him. And he's also saying that he made them, and I'm not really sure about that. I feel like they all had significant following and traction on TikTok before they were joining the Hype House, and that was the reason for them to join the Hype House, that they were the biggest growing creators on the platform at that time. So I'm not sure that he made them, but I feel like he definitely helped them. And it's like kind of sad to see that he got dropped by all of them. And later on, Charlie is in several of the scenes, and she's not talking to Thomas at all. She is not interacting with him, at least you don't see it. Maybe she is off camera, but she's mainly just talking to Lilhuddy and sometimes to Nikita. Maybe something else happened, but it's kind of sad to see him getting used like this. And he also like furthers that like in episode 7, I think, but that is how far we are right now. So then Alex Warren does the fake wedding thing, talks about his views being down, he broke his foot, all of that. Don't really want to get into that. Let's get to episode 4. That is when Nikita Dragun like wants to put either Alex Warren or Vinnie the Hacker in drag to have them pussy stun in, which I thought was a really cool idea. I thought it was really fun. I think Vinnie the Hacker is like 18 years old, and he was like, his first question was like, you want me to tuck? And I was like, oh my god, he knows what tucking is. I love this. Just doing like a thing between drag, just wearing eyeliner and heels. So he doesn't really want to be offensive. I get that. It's mainly because there was a scandal on Alex Warren's video with a prank where everybody got angry that with a girl that was kissing Vinnie the Hacker, because those girls were jealous that they were not kissing Vinnie the Hacker, so sending death threats. That was also very interesting. People are crazy, like literally. If you think like you're gonna end up with someone and then you see them kiss somebody else and you send that person death threats, you're sick. Period. And they kind of say that in the show too, that like, those are not really fans, those are like weirdos. Then we have Lilhuddy and 2 of the other guys sitting in a hot tub and talking about girls, and it's like frat boy moment and more of the same storyline with are they posting, are they not posting, everybody should be doing their share. Then we get to episode 6 where Thomas is planning a trip for vacation to like get everybody closer together and like revive the hype house and like the team spirit, and to not have them post for the gist of posting, but because they wanna post together because they're having a fun time. So they arrive at this vacation spot, which is beautiful. They have like a station where you can like shoot like with arrow and bow, and like a food stand, amazing things. Like everybody has their own trailer and they're like kind of themed after each one. I don't know if like that was just luck or if Thomas actually had them like do something special. Like the one that Chase got was like really like vampire themed, and that seemed so random to just fit so well. But none of that really works out. So they all end up being like 3 groups, I would say. So there's like the family friendly kind of group, the couples, and like older people. They're all in their early 20s, but still. The frat boys, I would say, like Lilhuddy and some of the other guys. And then you have the social media people, like Larray and his people, and Vinnie the Hacker and Nikita Dragun. And they all just like split up, and that is when Thomas realizes that this whole thing like didn't really work out, and everybody's just like splitting up in single groups, and it's not like binding them back together. And he's like very sad, and he has a little bit of a breakdown and starts crying. It's like very emotional, and then they all start to get in a fight, and Nikita comes out of nowhere when she hears people screaming. She's like, oh my god, what's happening? Scooch over, let me sit here. I was like, oh my god. It's like so Nikita to like instantly jump into like what is happening once there's drama. Because she was in her trailer alone before that or whatever. They all kind of start fighting, and especially Larray's like really, well, Thomas's girlfriend is talking about how nobody's cleaning up, nobody's doing their part, nobody's posting, this whole thing didn't work, and she feels very sad for her boyfriend, which is totally understandable. And then Larray's like, why are you talking about this? Nobody's talking about this. And she's like, well, I want to talk about this because this is important to me. And then they talk about it, and Thomas is opening up about his feelings, and then Larray's like, oh my god, I literally lost 10 brain cells from this conversation. And Thomas is like, well, that was rude, and it was rude. I don't get it. I don't know what that was supposed to be. Yeah. I think the main problem of this hype house is that they don't have the same chemistry between all of them that the first hype house had. And I think you can't change that. And I don't think you can like fix that. You can like try to come closer with trips like this, but you can't fake or create chemistry. The biggest difference to the first cast. And it would have been so much more interesting to see like how Addison Rae and Charli D'Amelio interact with each other, post with each other. Do they just like abandon each other after posting, or do they actually like each other when they were in the hype house? All of that would have been more interesting, but this cast would have been also like way more interesting if there would have been chemistry between them, and I think that's the main issue. One of the younger guys says that he has like way more money than a 21-year-old should have, and they don't care. They don't want to post, and they don't want to be consistent. And when Thomas is like trying to convince them to post, it's like this authority over them that their parents had, that they are reluctant towards, and that's why they don't do it. And I feel like he really made a huge connection there, that it is this authority part. It's just like being rebellious. They are young and rich, and they don't want to be told what to do. So that is the main issue between Thomas and the creators. Thomas then also talks about more about his family trauma and what has happened to him in the past and how he grew up, and shares all of that trauma. I thought from the get-go that Thomas would treat this hype house like Jake Paul treated the Team 10 house, like using everybody and sucking them up like a juice package and like throwing them away. And I feel like Thomas is literally doing the opposite. He's like trying to help them and trying to encourage them to post. And in the show, it really comes off as if he's very selfless and even like neglecting himself. And that is where you really start to feel bad for him. And I feel like he has the main character storyline. So maybe when he left Team 10, he like founded the hype house with the intention to do better than Jake, or at least to do it completely different than him. I hope that it's not just a storyline, that is really how he is, because sometimes it's like hard to tell with these shows. But I really hope that that is his intention behind this. So Thomas kind of accepts that this is not gonna work out, the hype house is not gonna be a thing anymore, and that he wants to like shut it down soon. They all end this trip like with this TikTok trend where somebody's dancing like in the middle and everybody else is just watching. And that was so powerful and like summing up this whole thing. It feels like one person is dancing and everybody else is just watching and doing the bare minimum. That the best thing they can do when they all come together is like one person dancing and they all just standing around. That felt very anticlimactic. In the end, they're super famous. All they have to do is like stand there and look in the camera and be hot and get the likes. So I don't know, is it really that bad? Like, it's not the biggest effort, but it's definitely a good life, isn't it? Well, I'm gonna get back to that part in the end, which is actually right now. So this is the last episode. This is like, is the hype house ending? It is ending. Or is it not? They have this prom night because Nikita never got to celebrate her prom, and a lot of the other hype house members also never got to celebrate prom because of COVID. Thomas also has like a talk with his father, and I think the father had like a very great quote. Living in the past is creating depression, and living in the future is creating anxiety, so you have to live in the now. And I think that summarizes a lot of struggles very well. I don't think you can like simplify every single struggle to that quote, but that was really good. I was surprised by that. So the main issue that all these people in the hype house have is that or why they are depressed, is that they don't really face their trauma. They all had trauma in the past and they all didn't really work through it yet. And a lot of them are like, well, I have everything. Even Thomas is like, I have everything. I'm rich. I have all these things. And I feel like a kid that has every single toy, but I don't have any batteries for them. So they don't bring him any joy. And that is definitely because they lack purpose in their life. They're making videos, but for what? To entertain people. I feel like for some of them it's enough, but not for all of them. And especially Thomas is like lacking purpose. I feel like money is not gonna make your trauma go away. Money is not gonna help you work through that and be like content with the person you are right now. If you still suffer like from experiences you had in the past, you're still gonna feel like shit. And you can afford like mental health help if you're rich, but you have to take it. And I feel like they were not ready for that, at least a lot of them. And another main issue for them is that they all feel like it could go away any second. And tomorrow they could all be back in their hometowns, in their small towns, and have nothing, and it would all be gone. And even Larray still says that, who has been doing YouTube for 5-6 years, I don't know. This all could be gone, and it all could like evaporate. And to some extent, that is true, but I don't feel like you're gonna be a millionaire and then like instantly have to move in back with your parents. I feel like a lot of them are just living so in the now that they don't want to think about what happens when it all goes away, and that is what creating this anxiety. They don't want to think about it. It could happen any moment, but they are pushing it to the back, and that is why it's creating a problem. So yeah, they are all celebrating prom then. Chase is saying that he's leaving the hype house, and pretty much after that, Thomas is like, I'm ending the hype house, I'm not ending the hype house. And then they show like a YouTube video from 6 months later, and everybody is moving out of the hype house. And he says like Alex, Warren, and Cover are still gonna be part of the hype house forever. And that's it. That is the ending. And it sounds like Thomas is trying to make a new hype house with like new members, which in my book would be like the third hype house, because this really felt like the second hype house cast type thing. That is the ending of the Netflix show. What is the conclusion? I feel like the production was way better than I thought, mainly because I saw snippets of the D'Amelio show before and I did not like the editing, and it was all like weirdly like vertical, like TikTok style, and so this one was way better, mainly because this was done by Netflix. I think the other one was like Charlie D'Amelio show was done by HBO or something. I feel the main issue why the hype was gone probably was I don't consider these people the hype house, and it was not really focused on the backstory of content creation, or like what is it like. It was not really focused on TikTok at all. It was just focused on the personalities, which I did like as the main focus, but I still wanted to see more about them posting and what is it like, and what is the TikTok world like, and what is it like to, I don't know, be at a TikTok party, and maybe all of this is fucking depressing, but I thought that is what would have elevated this show so much more. I feel like this had the potential to be one of the most viewed shows this year, probably, even though the year just started, would have been if they would have included Addison and Charlie, and if they would have had all the people that were having the hype back then. This would have like gone through the roof, like no doubt about it. I think this would have been one of the most watched Netflix shows if they would have still been in there, but they went off, did their own reality shows, whatever. That Addison was on the Kardashians and all of that, but yeah, it was not as bad as I thought, and I would not recommend it to any of my friends, but it was not as bad as Tiger King 2. I mean, that's not that hard, but it was a little better. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like the video, and please leave me a comment if you have something to say, and maybe I'll make this a show now. Like, is it worth the hype? I don't know. See you next time for another episode of that, or maybe another video. Bye.